Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is Monday, August the 17th. Overall markets closed at record highs last week, spying cues. Nice continuation towards the upside. We had semis, nice solid bounce here in the markets. Some memory tickers are currently leading the market's higher. We are having a gap up on MU, SNDK, and a few other tickers as well. With that being said, hope you guys have been doing well. Hope you guys had a great weekend. What's up, everyone? Good morning. What's up, Kelvin? Harold. Good morning, JTAN TW. Good morning, Maria. What's up, Wallace, Cody? Good morning, Knight, Andy, Lamed, Gerald. What's up, Bobby, Carl? What's up, Deuce? Didn't know type of statements being in drawdown that is being matter with CFDs. I trade or it can still be profitable. CFDs have nothing to do with being in drawdown. That's just a financial instrument. So most likely has to just do with the setups that you're taking, risk management if you have an edge in the markets. What's up, Juan? Goshen? What's up, Sina? Andrea? Maria? Julius? What's up, B Roots from the East Coast? Cosmic? What's up, Vinny? Yeah, what's up, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. It seems like a lot of you guys are from Canada, which is good to see. Yeah, hope you guys are doing well. Let's pull up the economic calendar. There's really not too much to talk about coming into this week. With that being said, did you guys have a good weekend? Did you guys also watch the mini kind of beginner options course that I posted yesterday? If you haven't done so, I did post one on my main channel, which came out yesterday. You guys have been asking for a video as of recent, so make sure to watch that. That's a good video, kind of beginner's guide to options. It should help answer some of the questions that some of you guys have in regards to like kind of picking options, Greeks, what I look for from my broker side, and everything else as well. But yeah, with that being said, let's pull up the economic calendar. That's on my main channel. Yes, that was great. Awesome. NYC. What's up, everyone? Hong Kong. Nice. So a lot of people from all over the world. Good morning. Do I need an editor? I already have an editor, but if you want to send some of your stuff over, I have my email in the description. All right, let's take a look at the economic calendar. Some kind of news that we did have over the weekend. As you can see here, reports indicate agreement to extend the 60-day period between Iran and the US. We'll see how legit of a story this is, but that is something that we do have here. So, key technical levels that we have Monday, Tuesday. Sorry, key news events. No news events for Monday and Tuesday. The only thing that we have this week is going to be the FOMC statement. That's going to be at, the FOMC minutes. That's going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday. It's not the FOMC statement, so not expecting it to impact the market as much as the FOMC statement, of course, but that is something to keep in mind. As for Thursday, we do have the unemployment claims. So that one is going to be it's going to not impact the market as much, but that is something to keep in mind. So this week, there's not too many red folder news events to keep in mind. Higher timeframes is still very much bullish. As for the earnings calendar, majority of the earnings are over. So we have a lot of after earnings plays in the markets. There's been names like AMD, we've had Nvidia, Tesla earnings reversal. A lot of these earnings reversal plays, even on some of the semiconductors as well. So the best names to trade have been after earnings. So as for this week, not too much to keep in mind, right? Home Depot, those are some notable names that we have this week. Klarna, the Afterpay, Target potentially on Wednesday before the market opens. Other things that we have, right? Webull, Alibaba, and Walmart on Thursday, but not too many big names to keep in mind. So with that being said, let's just hop straight into the charts and what we have coming into this week here now. So yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna head on to some charts and tickers. I'm just going to grab some water here before we get started. We'll head on to some of the major indices, and then we'll make our way down to some of the tech names that we do have. Okay, with that being said, let's start off on the major indices. Let's take a look at the SPY here first. As you can see right here, this is the weekly chart that we have pulled up. We had some consolidation between May and July. And you can see we end up having a nice close above our all-time highs. The last 2 weeks, you can see last week's candle, we are still fairly bullish here. We haven't closed above our last week's highs, but if we're looking at it from a bar by bar basis and the location, as you can see, the weekly candle is fairly bullish, right? Closed relatively close to the last prior's week high. And you can see we're well above our previous all-time highs in this consolidation. If we go onto this daily chart, we did form this flag pattern. And you can see we ended up pushing back up in towards that all-time high. So on Friday, we had a slight pullback, but the higher time frames, if we were to mark out the EMAs that we have on the charts, we are fairly bullish on the weekly. We're fairly bullish on the daily as well. Now what we like to see is really just maintain above these higher lows, right? We have kind of two levels. We have our all-time highs, which is the best case scenario for continuation. If we do pull back, we can just form a higher low on the daily time frame. As long as we're above our 768, we're going to be looking for continuation towards the upside. If we go on to the hourly time frame, what are some of the levels that we have coming into this week? Some of the levels that we have on SPY, number one, we have that previous level of resistance that now we'd like to see turn into support, which is off this 775. So you can see the bounce here on Thursday, Friday, we kind of came back down into this level here as well. Now we just want to see that continuation back towards the upside. So key level 775. Other levels that we have marked out as well is going to be this 777, which is also our previous all-time high. So for the SPY coming into market open here, what I like to see is a couple scenarios. Number one, right, maintain above our 777, continuation back towards the upside. Another possible scenario now above our pre-market high, we can see that push up in towards that previous day highs along with our all-time highs. Or let's say price does show a little bit weaker price action, we can keep an eye out for the bounce play off our previous day lows, 775, for continuation towards the upside. Only way I'm interested in some downside coming into this week is going to be underneath our 775. If you can get underneath the previous day lows, then we can see potential weakness. But shorts are not really in play as of recent. I'd like to see it underneath our previous day lows. Higher time frame still bullish. Weekly's bullish, daily's bullish. We need to see a lot weaker price action intraday if we do want to see some downside in the market. So with that being said, just keep an eye out on that on 775 along with our 777 coming to market open here on the SPY. If we take a look at the ES, key technical levels that we have marked out, similar thesis, right? Previous level of resistance. Now you can see turning into support. What we like to see here is just that continuation back up in towards that all-time highs here on the ES. Key levels that we have marked out is going to be that previous day lows, which you can see nice bounce from on Friday. Other levels that we have marked out now is just going to be that 7820. If you want to see continuation, you like to see now above this level for a continuation higher. Another possible scenario above our pre-market highs for a push up in towards our previous day highs and above. If we do pull back coming to market open, we can keep an eye on that previous day low bounce for continuation back towards the upside. As I mentioned, only way I'm interested in shorts is if we do get underneath our previous day lows, hold underneath that previous day lows, then I'm going to be leaning a little bit more towards the downside. But a lot of times, especially in a bullish environment, whenever we're in a strong trending market, the previous day low bounce is the trade that we want to be looking for, because a lot of times we come down, we'll sweep this level and we'll look for continuation higher, right? This is what it looks like here in an uptrend. So we'll keep it on that previous day low bounce coming into market open here. Now let's take a look at the QQQ on the weekly time frame. So as you can see here, the weekly time frame closed bullish on the Qs. Another one, right? If we're talking about the actual body of the weekly candle, it's a little bit smaller compared to its previous week's candle. But if we're talking about the location, fairly bullish. We are trying to close back above that 730. The next level, of course, on the higher time frames is going to be that major all-time highs level. So that's really the level we can expect the cues to gravitate towards. If you zoom out just a little bit, you can see the higher lows being made on the weekly time frame. Now the next logical level here is just going to be back up in towards this all-time high. So 740 and above, we can expect the QQQs to gravitate up in towards that area. So that's what we have on the weekly. If we were on the daily chart, key technical levels that we have last week was at 730. Now you can see we're basically kind of breaking above and we're using this as a retest level. Let's keep an eye out on this flip for a move back up in towards 740 and that all-time highs, which is going to be 750. So that's going to be the level we're going to be looking for the cues to gravitate towards in the coming weeks. If we take a look at the hourly time frame, the key levels that we have marked out 728, you can see we came back for that retest on Friday, and now currently we are seeing some buyers here in the pre-market. The key technical levels that we have coming into today is going to be that previous day highs. So let's mark out this 733 coming into market open here, maintain above that 733 hold. We can see that push up in towards that pre-market highs and above. Another possible long scenario above our pre-market highs for continuation towards the upside here as well. So as long as you can maintain above our previous day highs, we are going to be looking for continuation. Of course, if you get underneath our previous day highs, we could see this potential mini retracement back down in towards that previous day close. So shorts are technically in play. If we do get underneath that previous day highs, you could see a little bit of a pullback down into that previous day close. But I am leaning slightly bullish on the higher time frames just based off the weekly and the daily. And of course, if we see buyers step in right off the bat, we can be looking for continuation above our previous day highs and above our pre-market highs. If we now take a look at the NQ, this one, similar thesis on the higher time frames. If you go into the hourly chart, you can see we did come back for the retest of this previous all-time highs here on Friday. So nice kind of flat top break, broke above it, retest, and now we're seeing some continuation. If we do want to see the market move higher today, key levels that we do have is the previous day highs. Maintain above that previous day highs, continuation towards the upside. Above our pre-market highs, we're going to be looking for continuation here now as well. If we do reject, we could see a potential retracement, as I mentioned, back down in towards that previous day close, which is our 3160 here on the higher time frames. Now let's take a look at some other major indices that we do have. We can take a look at the SMH here. So the semis did have a nice bounce last week. If you're looking at memory more so in specific, we did finally break outside of this kind of daily downtrend that we've had on the memory tickers. So that's why we've had a nice bounce on MU, SNDK, and a few other tickers. If we take a look at the SMH here, let's take a look at the weekly time frame. So weekly time frame, 2 weeks ago, we finally had that shift in momentum, broke above our weekly candle, which was the candle from July the 27th. If we look at the daily chart here now as well, you can see we're starting to build up higher lows on the daily time frame. Now we also broke back above our 600 key psych. This is that lower high pivot point now breaking above. Let's see if we can have a flip on the SMH for continuation back towards the upside. Key technical levels that we have marked out is that 588. So as you can see, we tried breaking above on Thursday, Friday, a little bit of retracement, but this morning we're currently gapping above our previous day highs and we're pushing back up and towards our last week's highs. So coming into today for the semiconductors, if we want to see continuation, right, maintain above our previous day highs, hold for a pushback towards the upside. Another possible scenario above our pre-market highs along with our last week's highs for continuation here as well. So these are the two levels that we have on the SMH coming to market open. The IWM is fairly bullish here. If you take a look at the daily chart, we're forming this cup and handle. And now you can see we've broken above our 302, and we've been using this level as resistance turning into support. So if you take a look at the IWM, really our key technical levels moving forward is just going to be that 303. You can see that break on Thursday, hold on Friday. Now the other levels that we could have marked out as well is just going to be that previous day highs. We can mark this out if you want to see continuation on the IWM, maintain above that previous day highs, hold for that continued push back towards the upside. And of course, if we do take a look at DRAM, which is the memory ETF, you can see this one is now finally trying to reclaim back above our 55 key psych. You can see level of resistance turn into support. Once we got back underneath, we've been staying heavy underneath this 55. Last week, we finally did see some momentum back towards the upside, broke back above this 55 daily time frame. We like to see now start flip bullish for a move back towards the upside. So if we're taking a look at the hourly time frame, the key technical levels, 55. Other levels that we could have marked out now as well is going to be this 59. So as you can see, we're above our previous day highs here on DRAM. We're above our Thursday's highs, we're above our Friday's highs, we're above our key technical level here. If we go into the hourly time frame, you can see we had this nice kind of push towards the upside. Now we're above our 60 key psych. We can just start mark out this level moving forward. If we do want to maintain a bullish bias here on the memory tickers, maintain above our 60 key psych for a push up in towards our 62 here on the higher time frame. So coming into market open here, let's keep an eye on that previous day highs hold, right? That's going to be key along with this 59 general area for continuation towards the upside here on the memory tickers. Above our pre-market highs, we can see continuation towards the upside here as well. Okay, that being said, that's it for the major indices today. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers you guys would like me to go over, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below here as well. All right, with that being said, let's head on to some tech names, other things that are notable in the markets. We did have some news. Let me pull this up. We did have some news that was implemented, at least for options trading over the weekend. Let me see if I can find this for you guys. Options pre-market are now currently open. So we do have a select few tickers that we're able to trade during market open. Let me see if I can pull up this news event. But yeah, I'm trying to find the news event that we do have. But basically, options pre-market, there are some specific tickers and major indices that we do have that now we're allowed to trade in the pre-market starting off at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So normally options are opened at 9:30 to 4 p.m. But there is a new feature that is implemented. Some brokers might not have it as of yet, but we're able to trade a select few indices and a select few individual names starting in the pre-market. I'll talk about that a little bit more. We have other features coming out as well. We had single stock features which came out roughly a month ago, and then eventually we are going to at least for the overall markets, we want like 24-hour market, and then eventually we're gonna have like 24-hour options as well. But yeah, with that being said, let's take a look at Tesla. Starting off here on the daily time frame. Yeah, it's probably going to be delayed. I'm not sure. It could very much well could be delayed. Last time they had it delayed once again. It was supposed to come out like Q2, late Q2, but they had that delayed for an extra month. It seems like they're probably going to delay that again. But if there's more information, I'll keep you guys updated. So with Tesla here on the daily time frame, as you can see coming into this week, really the main levels we're going to mark out is going to be that 340. As you can see, we have this major daily gap with earnings So for Tesla moving forward, a lot of these tickers, whenever we have these daily gaps via earnings, we're going to be looking for something called a earnings reversal trade. So for Tesla, multiple touches here. Now what we like to see is a reaction that we have off that 340. If we can get back above that 340, we can see that continuation back towards the upside. Key technical levels that we have marked out coming into this week is going to be that 334, along with this 340 here on the higher time frames. Friday, we did have a nice break above, ultimately did not close above that 340. So the key technical levels that we have marked out is still just going to be kind of our previous day close area along with this 342. If we do want to see some continuation on Tesla, today we need it back above that 340 along with that 344 hold for any sort of push back up in towards that previous day highs. If you take a look at this on the hourly time frame, we are actually at a key technical area. So for Tesla, we can just mark out this like 340. If we can get above that 340, we can see that continue push back towards the upside. If we break back underneath, we could see a potential mean reversion back down in towards that previous day lows. And potentially below if we do get underneath this 342. There are a few other tickers that are a lot more bullish that we can keep an eye out on. As for AMD, you can see on Friday, we end up having a nice break outside of its consolidation back up in towards that earnings high. So pretty big buyers that stepped in last Friday on AMD. We do have room back up in towards our earnings high, 530 here on the higher time frame. So you can see a lot of consolidation here on AMD. Finally got that break above our previous day highs hold. A nice continuation towards the upside. Currently in the pre-market, we are pulling back here now as well. So we did have a nice pop in the pre-market. We are seeming to pull back. We're pulling back pretty aggressively here in the pre-market. The key levels that we are going to have marked out is going to be that previous day highs area. So for AMD, coming into market open here today, what we like to see is really longs above our previous day highs hold for any sort of push back up in towards our pre-market highs and potentially this 530 here on the higher time frames. If we do reject and get underneath our previous day highs, hold underneath that previous day highs, we can see a slight pullback down in towards that 505 and below. If we take a look at NVIDIA, this one is still holding up compared to the overall markets. NVIDIA looks solid for a continuation back up in towards that all-time highs. If we did take a look at this on the weekly time frame, you can see weekly break and retest. The next logical level is going to be that push back up in towards our 235 and our 240 here on the higher time frame. So NVIDIA looks fairly bullish. If we're on the lower time frames, the key technical levels that we have marked out coming into this week is just going to be that previous week's highs. Other levels that we have marked out is going to be that 223. Coming into today, we can kind of refine this level a little bit more, but let's mark out that previous day highs. If we do want to see continuation on NVIDIA above our previous day highs hold for a pushback towards the upside up into that 230 and above is in play coming to market open. Really, that's going to be the main scenario for NVIDIA, right? The break above previous day highs hold for a push towards the upside. If we do reject, we could potentially come back, build up a higher low here on the hourly time frame. Already bounced off this level a couple times, but above our previous day highs are now the bounce off our 222 for continuation towards the upside here on the hourly time frame. If you take a look at Apple, this one has been consolidating after we dropped with earnings. We've just been consolidating inside of this range in between that 300 along with that 315. Last week, we saw some buyers kind of step in once again, offer 302. Now what we like to see and what we do have marked out is just our 306. That's one of the main levels coming into market open. Other levels that we could have marked out, previous day highs here as well. If you want to see any sort of continuation back towards the upside above that pre-market high for a push higher, if we bounce off our previous day lows, we could be looking for continuation back towards the upside as well. Only way we're going to lean more bearish on Apple is if we break underneath that previous day lows, hold underneath that previous day lows, we can see push down in towards that 302 on the higher time frames. Let's take a look at Google here. This one has been weaker as of recent. We had earnings roughly around a month ago. We had a nice push towards the upside. We had some bearish news, which kind of dropped this back towards the downside. Now for Google, what are the levels that we have marked out on the daily chart? So the daily chart, we have this 340, which is the area that we've bounced from multiple times. This is the area once we broke back above, you can see nice continuation towards the upside. So now we are currently back in really the area that we broke out from originally. This was earlier in August where we had that nice push towards the highs. Now for Google, we're back at this area. We would like to see really buyers step in off this 340 for a pushback up in towards that 352. Key technical levels that we can have marked out is going to be that previous day highs. So we can mark out this area, drag this down if you do want to see any sort of continuation on Google above our previous day highs at a minimum for a pushback up in towards that 350 and above. Currently, I'd say we're fairly neutral here on Google. Could go either ways. If we can maintain above that 340, we can see that pushback towards the upside. Of course, if we break underneath that 340, we can see that flip and a pushback towards the downside. As for Microsoft, this one's still holding up on the daily time frame. We can pull up the EMAs that we do have. I would like to see kind of this hold of this 9 EMA on the daily time frame for that pushback towards the upside on Microsoft. So daily time frame still bullish. Hourly time frame, we are coming back down for a kind of this like double bottom on the hourly chart. What I would like to see is this higher low hold on the hourly time frame for any sort of continuation back towards the upside. So for Microsoft coming into this week, I would like to see that hold of that 490, right? Buyer step in for that pushback towards the highs. Hourly time frame is going to be your best go-to here, right? Higher lows on the hourly chart. We'd like to just see it maintain above our last week's lows for continuation back towards the upside. If we can get above our previous day highs, that would be good as well for that flip back towards the upside. Is it back up and towards 512 here? Let's take a look at Meta. Meta on the daily time frame, we had a nice bounce off this double bottom. Right now, after earnings, we've just been consolidating right underneath this 600 key psych. For Meta, if you do want to see any sort of continuation higher, need it back above the 600. You can see how many touches we've had off this area. We need to see it back above, reclaim for any sort of pushback towards the upside. So 600 is going to be key here on Meta. As for Amazon, this one did reject off that previous all-time highs last week. Now it seems like for Amazon, we can kind of pull back down into key technical levels, which currently we're seeing some buyers step in off this daily gap. Now what I like to see for Amazon is one of two things, right? Mini mean reversion back towards the upside, or it could come back down to that previous level of resistance. And I like to see this area turn into support for a pushback towards the upside. So Amazon, we have two key levels. We have that previous level of resistance. We also have this daily gap fill as well, which is our 262 here. So for Amazon, so far we are seeing a little bit of buyers step in. We're gapping up here in the pre-market. We can also mark out that previous day highs. So coming into today here for Amazon, at least this week, maintain above that previous day highs. You can see this reversal back towards the upside. If we get underneath that previous day highs, hold underneath, then we're going to see that push right back down into that previous day close along with our previous day lows. Netflix, this one looks good here on the daily chart. We did reclaim on the weekly time frame as well. So for Netflix, really strong candle close last week, back above our previous level of support. So now for Netflix, let's keep an eye on the hold back above that 76, flip back towards the upside. Daily time frame, exact levels that we're going to have marked out as well is just going to be that 75. If we can maintain above our 75 moving forward, we can be looking for continuation back towards the upside. Key technical levels that we do have marked out on Netflix is just going to now be that previous day highs or high that we created here on Thursday. If you want to see continuation now above our previous day highs, for continuation back towards the upside here is in play on Netflix. If you get underneath, then we can definitely see a little bit more weakness underneath that previous day lows. And as for SpaceX, the daily time frame, we're building up higher lows currently. So we did reject off that 150, which was that IPO price. Now for SpaceX, let's keep an eye on this kind of daily flag. Let's see if we have some continuation. If you can get back above that 150, we can definitely see continuation back towards the upside. So key levels that we have marked out, we can mark out our 139. If we do want to see continuation here on SpaceX, hold above that 139 continuation above our previous day highs. You can see that flip back towards the upside on this one. Higher time frame wise for SpaceX, this one is fairly bullish now, at least within the past really 20 sessions. For SpaceX, above our 150 bullish. If we pull back and we maintain above that 130, we can be looking for continuation back towards the upside here as well. So with that being said, those were some of the tech names that we had coming into today. Now let's head on to a few other tickers that we have coming into this week. We'll start off with some memory names, MU, and we'll kind of make our way down and also take a look at a few other tickers that we do have as well. Okay. With that being said, if you guys do have any charts or any tickers you'd like me to go over here, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below here as well. Okay, I do see a couple tickers. Let's go over MU first. This one, as you can see on the higher time frames, we're starting to shift, a lot of consolidation. And now last week we kind of broke this downtrend break, and that's why we're seeing some nice momentum back towards the upside. On the hourly time frame, we kind of had this downtrend break here as well. So that's why we had a nice push towards the upside. Now for MU, we are actually back at one of the areas that we broke down from. This was kind of that original level. Once we broke outside of this daily consolidation along with this hourly downtrend, we end up having that nice push right up into that 10-11. That was one of our main targets that we had for MU. Now, if we do want to see continuation, key technical levels that we have marked out is going to be that previous day highs. If we want to see continuation towards the upside, above our pre-market highs, hold for continuation back towards the upside. Another possible scenario now, which is more likely, is that previous day high retest. We'll see if any buyers do want to step in off that 980 for a pushback towards the upside. So for MU, right, a little bit of seller stepping in. Let's keep an eye on that previous day highs. We can also mark out that pre-market high and that pre-market low here today, right? As long as we maintain above that previous day highs, we're going to maintain a bullish bias here on MU. So let's keep an eye on that previous day highs and then pre-market highs along with that pre-market low coming into market open here for MU. S&DK, this one is kind of similar thesis, right? We had that downtrend break forming last week. We end up having that nice pushback towards the upside. Right now, we are currently right above, or actually above our previous day highs, and we're above the 1650, which is above our key technical level that we have marked out. Now what we like to see is to maintain above that 1650 hold for that continuation towards the upside. So keep an eye on that previous day highs hold on S&DK above our pre-market highs, continuation towards the upside here as well. INTC, this one pulling back just a little bit. We're kind of right around that earnings high. For INTC, higher lows are being built on the hourly time frame. What I would like to see now is a hold of this 102. You can see higher lows. Let's see if we can hold that 102 for continuation back towards the upside. Key levels that we have marked out is going to be a hold of that 102 coming to market open here today. Maintain above that 102 hold for a push back up in towards that previous day highs. Above our previous day highs hold, we can see that continuation back towards the upside. WDC, this one, another one that's pushing up nicely. Earnings reversal back towards the upside is in play on this one. Key technical levels that we do have marked out is that previous day highs. Maintain above that previous day highs hold, continuation back towards the upside. So a lot of the memory names today, keep an eye on that previous day highs coming into market open. SK Hynix, this one, a recent IPO. We did come back up into that IPO low. Let's keep an eye on that hold of that 165 for a push back towards the upside. So for SK Hynix key levels that we have marked out 167. Other levels that we have marked out previous day highs here. So let's keep an eye on that previous day high hold for continuation back towards the upside. As for MRVL, this one needs to get back above that 230 if we want to see any sort of continuation back towards the upside. Currently, right, that's just the key technical levels that we have marked out. TSM, this one looks solid. Keep an eye on TSM. This is a daily retest, daily break and retest on the higher time frames off that 420. Kind of this flat top break. Let's keep an eye on TSM for a pushback towards the upside. Another possible scenario, yeah, really is just going to be that previous kind of not previous all-time highs, previous level of resistance now turn into support. Let's see if we can get that pushback towards the upside on TSM. Other key technical levels, previous day highs hold for a pushback towards the upside. NBIS, this one most likely going to head back up in towards our all-time highs this week. We end up having a nice reversal, of course, with earnings. NBIS, the key technical levels that we do have marked out, is going to be our previous day highs, 277 today. If we can maintain above that previous day highs, continuation up in towards our pre-market highs, along with our all-time highs is in play. At least for a few other tickers, Hood, Robinhood, this one kind of flirting around our 92 breakout level reclaim. Let's see if we can get that mean reversion on Hood back towards the upside. As for Qualcomm, let's take a look at this one. Qualcomm, this one has been in a downtrend, kind of right back into the area that we broke out from, but Qualcomm is building up this daily flag pattern. Let's keep an eye on Qualcomm for a pushback towards the upside. Key technical levels that we do have marked out is just going to be this kind of area that we broke out from. So you can kind of mark out this kind of downtrend that we have forming on Qualcomm. 166, that earnings high here as well. If we can base above that 166 now, we can see that continue pushback towards the upside. Another name to keep an eye out for is ARM. This one, the weekly chart looks very similar to something like an MBIS, right? Keep an eye out on like ARM for this weekly break and retest. You can see we had a lot of consolidation on ARM, breakout earlier into the year, and now we're pulling back. Keep an eye out on an ARM bounce back towards the upside. Key levels that we have marked out is that 240 breakout level. You can see this one came back down. Now we're bouncing off that 240, forming this daily flag pattern. The break it back above this 300, we can see a pretty big move back towards the upside. So for ARM, key levels that we have marked out is going to be this like 300 key psych. Let's keep an eye out for ARM, kind of this daily downtrend. If we can break back above, we can see this push back towards the upside. So I do like ARM quite a bit. Key levels that we do have marked out is going to be that earnings high that we have. So 270 hold. And now let's keep an eye out on ARM for a pushback towards the upside coming into this week for a move up in towards 300 and above. STX, this one's moving nicely as well. One of the stronger memory tickers. Nice bounce right off our key levels of support. And this one is breaking back above this consolidation. So for STX, this one is moving back nicely. Key levels that we have marked out is going to be that 920. Other levels that we can have marked out here as well is going to be that 1000 key psych. So for STX, nice break on Friday. Now we just want to see continuation above our previous day highs hold for a continued pushback towards the upside. So this is what we have on the other tickers. With that being said, let's just kind of go over the game plan coming into market open. It does seem like we are pulling back here in the pre-market, so a little bit of rejections now, pulling back in the pre-market. We're just going to come back down into that previous day close. As for the SPY, we're back down into that previous day lows here as well. Even the semiconductors pulling back, we are still bullish on the semis, so we'll keep an eye on the hold above our previous day highs for continuation. What are the top watches coming into today? We'll keep an eye on AMD above our previous day highs. NVIDIA, we'll keep an eye on this previous day highs reaction here as well. Some names that I do like for continuation above our previous day highs, mainly today, it's going to be some of the semiconductors. If we're taking a look at the SMH, we're above our previous day highs here. MU, we're still above our previous day high, so we'll keep an eye on that MU break and retest for continuation back towards the upside. SNDK above our previous day highs here as well for a push higher. And then all it's really just memory, right? Memory is pushing up nicely. So we'll focus in on memory, at least right off the bat. MUSNDK, WDC, names like STX here as well. We'll keep an eye on above our previous day highs. So those are the main watches coming into market open. Other names that I do like, MBIS above our previous highs for continuation back towards the upside. Palantir, we're still holding up on the daily time frame, little bit of a pullback, but Palantir, just keep an eye on that daily high or low for continuation. I would like to see Palantir really above our previous day highs if you want to see continuation. Most likely we're going to form kind of like a flat top break on Palantir. So higher lows, kind of this like flat top break, most likely it's going to form. Wait for that break above our 180 here on the higher time frames. But yeah, at least for today, focus in on memory right off the bat. With the Qs pulling back here, we're going to be a little bit more patient, at least right off the bat. We're going to keep an eye out on DRAM along with the memory names above our previous day highs bounce for a pushback towards the upside. Besides that, all the other tickers kind of in between its previous day's range coming into market open. So we're just going to be waiting for the reaction that we have off our previous day highs coming to market open. And yeah, with that being said, that's going to be it for me today. Going to get ready for market open here now. Let's see if most of the names keep falling on the day they kind of look bearish, we got to be patient. Yeah, with the rejection right off the bat, we're still bullish on the higher time frame, so we're just gonna be a little bit more patient. Yes, I'll check my email, Randy. I'll take a look at that. And yeah, with that being said, yeah, that's going to be it for me today. Hopefully, you guys did enjoy that. If you did, appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below here as well. So yeah, with that being said, I'm going to get ready for market open and I will see you guys all tomorrow. All right, take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. Peace.